If this video is a little bit unhinged, just go with me. I'm just gonna do everything I want and say whatever I want, so let's go. Hello, beautiful people. I watched Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 twice now in theaters, and I'm probably gonna go a third because yes, this movie is the definition of cinema, and once again, I would like to thank James Gunn for his excellence because he never fails. I mean it. For example, I love the Scooby-Doo films. I grew up on those movies. Everybody was asking me when I was reacting to films on my channel, how come you've never seen this? How come you've never seen that? It's because I was watching the Scooby-Doo movies. While I love James Gunn, I was never a huge fan of the Guardians of the Galaxy. I went to see the very first one with my uncle, Hello Holly, and it was fine. I just thought it was okay. I just didn't really care. I loved Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 just because I loved Baby Groot. However, I began to really enjoy these characters in Infinity War when, we got Gamora's death, we got Peter Quill's reaction to that. It just felt really emotional. We got to see Teenage Groot create Mjolnir, and so I was excited for more Guardians content, and when I saw the holiday special, I was blown away. I thought it was really great. It was nice seeing the banter between Mantis and Drax. Going into Guardians 3, spoiler alert, I did not expect to see Rocket get cut in half by the High Evolutionary, and it really affected me. I really commend James Gunn for making a film without any restraints in the MCU. I mean, it was so dark, and I mean really dark, and you guys know me, I'm a loving person. I don't like darkness, but I do like darkness in my movies, and let me tell you, the emotions I felt watching Bradley Cooper give this performance as Rocket, as a child, being taken away from Lila and Floor and Teefs, it was just so emotional and so dark. My theater was bawling, and it was really cathartic for me to see the MCU finally take a step towards doing something actually mature and adult. They tried to do that with Multiverse of Madness, but in doing so, they just assassinated Wanda's character. With Infinity War, they tried to do that when everybody got dusted, and it worked for me, but again, they didn't really die. We didn't have any casualties in that other than Nat and Tony, which again, I really like. That's why Endgame is my favorite superhero movie of all time. This film really went there. James Gunn took that step. He said, this is my final Marvel film. I'm gonna go out with a bang. And these are the characters at the end of their story. And so that's why I felt that this movie worked so well, is because the MCU gave, or I guess Kevin Feige gave, James Gunn the authority to make this feel like a finale. We went into this thinking someone was gonna die, and no one did, other than Lila and Teefs and Floor. Which, by the way, James Gunn, I'm sending you my therapy bills. I loved the direction that this movie took. From the first 5 minutes, you get to see Baby Rocket get taken out with the giant hand of the High Evolutionary, and then it just goes straight into Adam Warlock just destroying everything, and Rocket getting shot. From the moment, I watched this movie with my cousin Salim, and from the moment that Adam Warlock steps in and he grabs Mantis and then he breaks her hand, we both looked at each other like, oh, because we knew that, oh man, the MCU is actually getting dark, and you're gonna do something with actual casualties and people are gonna suffer consequences. It was so exciting. And then seeing Rocket lying there bleeding and Mantis screaming to try and help him, it worked so well. The movie actually took itself seriously, while all the while giving us excellent comedy that worked every time for me. The only joke that I didn't like was Cosmo saying, I'm a good dog. I just didn't really care at all, and I think that joke fell flat from the very beginning, and so even when there was payoff at the end for it, which I'll get to later, it just didn't work for me. I loved that the entire idea of the film was to go on this mission so you could save Rocket, and in doing so, James Gunn giving us all of these flashbacks to Rocket's childhood. The way that James Gunn can make you feel attached to these animals, because you see them and you see that, Lila the otter has her hands cut off, and you see Teefs has these wheels, and Floor, which, oh man, was so disturbing, with her spider legs. It's just, these animals have been tested on. The High Evolutionary has this motive to create this perfect world, so he's testing on animals and he's torturing them. Rocket literally had a bomb planted in him that would just self-destruct. It's just so disturbing. And because I'm talking about that, the way that the High Evolutionary was structured as a villain as this Dr. Frankenstein who got really mad when he realized that his creation became smarter than him. It was terrifying. That scene where he's yelling at Rocket saying, "I created you. How did you realize it and I didn't?" Because it worked. And then you see that Rocket's theory that he talked about why these animals were getting really, violent, was because there was something wrong with the machine. And the High Evolutionary actually managed to turn animals into human-like creatures. It was terrifying, matched with an excellent score. It's called Dido's Lament, by the way, that track. I've been listening to it nonstop. It's haunting. And then finding out that Rocket tried to escape when the High Evolutionary was being verbally abusive to him, telling him, "You are not going to my perfect world. You're literally trash." And him going back to try and escape and being smart enough to create a key to get out. And then Lila comes out with him and then she gets shot and dies. And Rocket, in total agony and confusion, lets out a scream that I swear to God would rather die than hear again. And he just goes and starts scratching the High Evolutionary's face. And honestly, death to the High Evolutionary. I don't give a crap. I mean, really, I think he deserved a violent end that I didn't really get to see, which is my one complaint in the film. And then the security guards come in and Rocket is too busy enraged that he doesn't realize that they shot Teefs and Floor. And by the way, hearing Floor constantly scream, "Rocket, Teefs, Floor, go now! Rocket, Teefs, Floor, go now!" Like, it's not something easy to watch, and I like that. I like that it disturbed me, and I like that it made me feel unsettled, because that is what made the payoff of this film actually worth it for me. And it's something that me, as a Marvel fan, I have been feeling has been lacking, other than Wakanda Forever, because I love that movie and I wish I made a review about it so I can tell you guys how much I love that film. That film really worked for me, but I still to this day have a hatred against Paul Rudd for making me lose those 85 dirhams that I paid for that IMAX screening of Quantumania, because it was trash. And I love you guys and I respect your opinions, but don't try to convince me otherwise about Quantumania. That was a mess. It was just really hard to see these animals get put in a situation. And I like animals, but I've never been a huge advocate for animals' rights. It's just not something that I am exposed to, and it's not something that I see in front of me. And so this movie made me care. It made me really care, and I really liked that. I like that this movie actually had a message against animal cruelty, against these people who want to play God. It's really, really interesting. And moreover, just about family. The fact that all of them went through all of this just so they could have the chance to save Rocket. And him wanting that as a kid. You know, one day when I grow up, I'm going to make big machines that fly, and I'm going to ride off into the forever and beautiful sky. Like, he wanted that, and he got that with Peter and Mantis and Gamora and Nebula and Groot, and that touches my heart. I'm sorry that this review is just all over the place, but I am vomiting everything I can think of because of how much I love that film. Also, not to mention the amazing hallway scene. You guys know what I'm talking about. No Sleep Till Brooklyn. An amazing soundtrack. Adam Warlock was hilarious. I thought it was really funny. Elizabeth Debicki played his mom, and I love Princess Diana, so she is Princess Diana to me, and I just thought that was great. I just really loved this film, top to bottom, everything about it. I loved the content we got with Nebula and Mantis and Drax. I loved the goodbye between Mantis and Drax. I loved that Rocket became the leader of the Guardians at the end. I loved that they saved him. I loved that Lila told him, "The story has always been about you. You just never knew it." I loved that. Apart from the fact that they completely ripped off Deathly Hallows Part 2, by the way. I just loved it. I loved everything about it. I ate it up. I watched it 2 days in a row. It's all I think about. It's all I've been thinking about this past week. I've been holding off making this video because I didn't want to speak too well about it, just in case the hype dims down like the day after I upload, but it's been 4 days now. I'm ready to say that it is one of the best MCU movies out there. It's one of the best things James Gunn's ever done. That and The Suicide Squad, to me, are absolute cinema. This film is just magic. That ending scene, my God, when Rocket goes through the MP3 player and he sees 2000s, I got so excited. Like, wow, what are they going to go out with? Are they going to go out with the bang? And then I hear Florence speaking to the machines, asking them if the dog days are over. And they're like, yes, and we made a song about it. I'm kidding. I love that song with all my heart. I grew up with that song during a very difficult time in my life when I was a kid and I was getting bullied and I wanted to change schools because that's a whole other story. And that song used to make me feel positive. And so to hear that in the theater and see all of these people that I have grown to love celebrate was really nice. I loved this movie. No one's going to take that away from me. I don't care what anybody says. It was just absolutely amazing. I love that Groot said, I love you guys at the end, but he didn't actually say, I love you guys. He said, I am Groot. But just like Gamora, who learned to understand how Groot speaks and to understand him, because we've been with them for so long, we are a part of the family. And so we understand Groot now. My God, James Gunn, give me a break. It's very emotional, man. That's what I would describe this movie as, an emotional trip that really worked. It just really worked. It really tugged at my heartstrings, and I'm glad that no one died. I mean, I was so ready for it, and I still wasn't disappointed. This is how subverting expectations is done right. Even James Gunn said, people are gonna die. It's just honestly amazing. I love this movie so much. This movie is a 10 out of 10. I don't care what anybody says. It is one of my favorite MCU movies of all time, which is funny because Guardians 1 and 2 are ranked so low on my tier list. I mean, that video is still up if you guys want to check it out. This movie meant everything to me. I just really, really loved it. I hated the High Evolutionary with all my heart. It was so cathartic seeing him get absolutely pummeled by the Guardians. And when Rocket said, the name's Rocket, Rocket Raccoon, kill yourself, I just loved it. I just wish that Rocket would have, pew, pew. But that didn't happen because he said, I'm a guardian of the galaxy. Nah, bro. Which again is such a testament to his character, right? Because he literally murdered his friends and he still chose not to kill him. I love Rocket so much. I ordered a Rocket plush and a baby Rocket flocked Funko. I'm very excited for those. There's also a 6-pack of the Guardians that I really want to get, but it was a Walmart exclusive and it sold out. But I'm going to Boston in a week, inshallah, and so I'm going to search for it there. Hope I can find it. I love this film. I love this film so much. If you guys listen to me rant, I'm so sorry. I'm genuinely so sorry, but there was just a lot that I wanted to get off my chest. Oh my God, I'm getting emotional again. The movie is just very emotional, and I genuinely question people's hearts, because I know people who also didn't get emotional when they went to see it. I question your hearts deeply, because I love you guys so much. I love you guys so much. The dog days are over. I love you all. Bye, guys.